The Panthers' late game heroics show up yet again as the Panthers pick up their third straight win, and all of a sudden, this team is starting to play like maybe what we expected heading in to the Olympic break or coming out of the Olympic break, but it might just be a day late and a dollar short. What's up, Florida Panthers Daily? I am AJ Sheridan back here with you on a Friday, March 13th. Another Friday the 13th. So we had now had two this year already, and we're only in March, but that's what happens when February falls the way it does. I just realized that as I am saying this here. But yeah, we made it to another weekend where the Panthers will only play once, coming off a big win last night. It was Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett with the scoring for the Panthers last night that led to the Panther win. Before we dive into that and look ahead to Sunday's matchup as the Panthers head out to the West Coast, if you are new here, we go every single day, Monday through Friday, just about 10 to 15 minutes. So everything you need to know and need to know it quickly here about the Florida Panthers right here, part of the Fan Arch community. If you want to drop that subscribe button below, it's completely free and helps us out a lot. Again, going every single day, Monday through Friday, and I'm even powering through the allergy season right now to give you the latest content that you need, which last night was all about the overtime winner for the Florida Panthers in a game where the Panthers only had 9 shots on goal through 40 minutes. 9. I'm not making this up. When I say a snooze fest, I slept through the start of the second period and woke up and realized, man, I probably could have stayed asleep through the whole second period because there was not much going on in that game. And then finally, the Blue Jackets would get on the scoreboard first. They would jump out to a 1-0 lead about just over halfway through this second period. Of course, a former Florida Panther, Mason Marchment, he picked up the assist on that one, and the Panthers would head to the dressing room in the third with only one goal given up by Sergei Bobrovsky. I'll get to him in a minute because he was last night's MVP, but only 9 shots on goal. Only 4 penalty minutes for each team, so it was a very even game. Again, we kind of highlighted that yesterday, talking about the last time these two teams met. It was a very even game. We expected to see more of that again last night, and that's exactly what we saw. But for the second game in a row and the second Panthers win in heroic style in a row, the Panthers are out hitting their opponents 23-13, so by 10 last night for the Florida Panthers. And I mentioned the shots, how bad the Panthers were getting dominated heading into the third period. Well, the third period would get a little bit better. It was 31-21 at the end of the day, so the Panthers were able to pick up 12 shots in that third period. And again, face-off circle continues to be a little bit of an issue for the Florida Panthers, who only won 41% of the faceoffs. But now I want to talk about the man in between the pipes for the Florida Panthers. It's actually this jersey right behind me because it looks like he has figured something out. We talked about it the other night after the Detroit Red Wings win. This is kind of what we expected to see from Sergei Bobrovsky post-trade deadline, but also post-Olympic break. And we didn't fully see it that first week out of the Olympic break. And now, straight out of the trade deadline, where there were a lot of rumors and circulations and news about Sergei Bobrovsky maybe leaving Florida, he is now all of a sudden playing like playoff Sergei Bobrovsky that we know and love. After the game last night, he said, I want to be here. I love this team. I love the fans. I love the organization. I love the guys. I love everything. Yeah, I want to stay here. Shout out to the fans for the second game in a row, rocking it in Amerant Bank Arena. It was the last time the Panthers will play back-to-back home games all year as they prepare to head out west. We'll preview that one in just a minute. Sergei Bobrovsky last night, only 1 goal allowed, 96% save percentage. He stopped 30 of the 31 shots that he faced last night, including 3 of those on the power play. So Sergei Bobrovsky doing his thing in between the pipes, and then it was Sam Bennett doing his thing. It went off his chest, and then it was his turn to help out the buddies. If you know his cause, he was tonight's third star. He had the first goal that tied it up for the Florida Panthers early into the third period, and maybe expected, okay, to get some momentum, let's pick up both points, let's not let the Blue Jackets get one. Well, this game would go to overtime, and Matthew Tkachuk would throw it through the slot. It would get all the way through to Sam Reinhart, who had an awful angle, but he went up shelf where Mama Moeller keeps the peanut butter and said, let's go home, baby. He picked up 2 points on the night and was your first star of the game last night. A Panthers 2-1 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. But I want to talk about a fresh face for the Florida Panthers. If you were watching the game, Mike Benning made his NHL debut, had over 16 minutes on the ice last night, and he was everything you could have hoped for if you are a Florida Panthers fan. He had a hit. I mentioned the physicality that he will bring to this team, and he had a block for the Florida Panthers. But I think what was really cool about Mike's batting debut is he was on the ice in overtime. He picked up his first NHL point on the Panthers' game-winning overtime goal. He sent it over to Tkachuk before Tkachuk sent it through to Sam Reinhart. And the last thing on Sam Reinhart, 189 goals now in a Florida Panthers jersey. He is now third all-time on the Florida Panthers record. So, an all-around good night for the Florida Panthers. Again, is it coming a day late and a dollar short? Well, we'll take a look at the standings in just a little bit, but it feels like this team finally figured it out. And it stinks that we're sitting here on Friday the 13th in March, and now it feels like it's clicking. And I can say this, and the Panthers can go out west, and I mentioned this yesterday. Maybe you find the momentum at home. You have the fan support to kind of keep pushing you and giving you some of that momentum. And then now you head out west, and it's tough. You're on a long road trip, and this is maybe where the season officially ends, and you go on a little losing skid, another losing skid, and season's over. Or you win a few more games on the road. Sergei Bobrovsky keeps playing like this. You win out. You win your last 17 games. Seth Jones comes back in about 7 to 10 days, like we talked about yesterday here on Florida Panthers Daily, and you win out, and you go win your fourth straight Eastern Conference Finals. I don't see it happening, but the team finally giving us something to talk about here on Florida Panthers Daily. We'll always find it, though. Monday through Friday, every single day, part of the Fan Arch community. We'll look forward now to the Florida Panthers West Coast trip. Again, they are heading out to Seattle. That will be Sunday night at 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus, or of course if you watch it locally at where you get your Panthers games. And then the Panthers will head to Vancouver on Tuesday, Edmonton for a Stanley Cup final rematch on Thursday, and wrap it up with Calgary on Friday. And I am wrong now that I'm looking. The Panthers do play at home back-to-back times, still another time this season when Seattle actually comes to Florida. But come Sunday night at 8 p.m., the Panthers will be taking on the Seattle Kraken. And I expect it to be another goaltending showdown between the two goaltenders in that game. And then another key to watch on Sunday night, I think, is the Kraken top line with Elberle, Beaners versus the Panthers' top defensive pair with Ekblad. I think that will kind of be the deciding factor in this game, is if we can keep that top line quiet. But the keys to the game for the Kraken will kind of be to get scoring from that top line. So if the Panthers are able to shut them down, I think it will be a big help for the Florida Panthers and can lead to a fourth straight victory for the Kitties. Two players to watch for the Kraken, again, is the first meeting between these two teams this year, is their center, Chandler Stevenson. He's got over 30 points already this year. He's a two-way center for him, does a lot for the Seattle Kraken. And then Vince Dunn is the leader on their defensive side when it comes to offense. He's their leading defensive offensive min, if that makes sense. I'm getting tangled on my words here tonight. He quarterbacks their power play for him, and he also leads their D-men in assists. So those are some names. If you haven't watched much Kraken hockey, of course they are out on the West Coast. If you don't stay up late watching hockey every night, that you should look out for. They kind of are playing about the same style of hockey as the Panthers. They've given up around the same goals, only 4 less than the Panthers, but this is a few nights before the game, so those numbers can change. They're not that much better than the Panthers on the power play. They're around 20% on the power play, but they do like to shoot the puck a lot, 27 shots per game. So again, that top defensive pair for the Panthers will be important, and I think that is the key to the game on Sunday night that we can be talking about on Monday if the Panthers pick up their 4th straight win and kick off the West Coast road trip. Now, I mentioned a day late and a dollar short a few times, but that's because we are going to take a look at where the Panthers just do stand. Is there a glimmer of hope left in the fan base? Is there? It seems like the fans are now having fun, and they're kind of enjoying what we did the last few years rather than all the negativity we were getting a few weeks back on social media. The Panthers still only above 3 teams in the Eastern Conference. That's the Maple Leafs, Devils, and Rangers. Still sit 9 points back of the Boston Bruins for that last wild card spot. The Detroit Red Wings, who the Panthers have beat twice recently in the last 3 games, that is, sit at 79 points, 10 points above the Florida Panthers. In the Atlantic Division is out of reach. Sabres still holding the top spot in the Atlantic Division over the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are at 84 points, and the Canadiens sit at 82. So there will be some fresh faces, it looks like, in the playoffs this year compared to the last few years. I mean, just the Sabres, who would have thought? The Red Wings, who would have thought? Again, still a lot of hockey left to play, but it seems like the Panthers will have to win their last about 15 out of 17 if they want to get into that conversation. And as for the Kraken, the Panthers' opponent on Sunday, they sit 1 spot and 1 point out of a wild card spot in the West, and that is as I'm recording this now on Thursday night. they win last night, if they did win last night, they will jump the Sharks into that last spot for a wild card position in the West. So you know they will be coming out on Sunday night, giving it their all as they continue to make a push for the playoffs that it doesn't look like the Florida Panthers will be taking. I was sitting here hesitating to take the over in the game last night as my best bet, and I talked myself into it somehow after talking about expecting good goaltending. So I'm not going to let that happen again tonight. Even though it is a West Coast trip, I told you that it's good goaltending in this matchup on Sunday night. So my best bet to get back on track will be the under 6.5 again in the Panthers-Kraken game. Let's stay hot. Let's get hot. We'll be back on Monday here on Florida Panthers Daily every single day, Monday through Friday. Subscribe down below. My social medias, AJ Sheridan Radio. We're bringing it to you, part of the Fan Arch community. Until Monday, everyone, let's go Cats.